Well, hello and happy September 9th to you. My name is Ann Jackson and I live right outside Nashville, Tennessee in a town called Franklin. I'm an author of the book Mad Church Disease and working on another one right now called Permission to Speak Freely. And I'm a blogger and a speaker and just a general hanging out, ice cream eating kind of person. So, anyway, I'm so glad that you decided to click on my face and play my video, and I hope that it will be a blessing to you. So, they asked us what was one thing that we would tell church leaders if we could just sit down with them for 9 minutes and share our heart. And there's a lot of things that I'm pretty passionate about that it was hard to decide. Very passionate about poverty and social justice and speaking about things we normally don't talk about in the church, like women and porn addiction and depression and anxiety, those kinds of things. But after just kind of thinking through it, I decided to reflect a little bit back on what my book Mad Church Disease was trying to communicate. And the pointed question there was, does working in this church or serving in this church interfere with your communion with Christ? And that question was asked to me by an associate pastor and friend in a church I used to work at. And he had known that I had gone through a pretty difficult time the last 6 months before he asked that question. I was working like crazy and ended up stressing myself out to the point that I had to be in the hospital for a week. So they ran all these tests, wanted to see if I had cancer or appendicitis and all of these different kinds of health issues. And after a week of the test, it came back that the only thing making me sick was stress. And essentially, I did not know how to take care of myself in ministry. Physically, that had gone kaput. Emotionally, I was a wreck. Relationally, because I wasn't able to keep all of my stuff together, I began withdrawing from my friends, withdrawing from my coworkers and my community. And spiritually, that very vital relationship was completely gone. So I was not operating out of any kind of overflow. I was just operating in my own strength. And I realized that because I did not know how to responsibly manage those areas of my life in a healthy way, that serving in a church was actually interfering with my relationship with Christ, which seems kind of weird and twisted because, if anything, if you work in a church, I mean, shouldn't your relationship with Christ be stronger? But it wasn't because I was working out of my own strength and not His. And so that's kind of what I want to challenge you with today. Probably the women have noticed. I don't know if any of the men have noticed, but I'm actually taping this without any makeup on. I haven't done my hair. I literally rolled out of bed, made sure I didn't look too distracting, and sat down to do this because something I'm personally struggling with right now is my own image. I as an author and a blogger, you kind of develop a way that you look or a way that you present yourself, and that's been honestly coming in between what God's called me to be and finding my value and my identity in Him rather than how people perceive me or how I want people to perceive me. And so I just wanted to get really real with you guys and literally take off the mask, take off the fancy hair and the cool clothes and say, you know what, this is me. This is Ann Jackson. Like it or not, this is who God's created me to be, without any kind of mask. And this is something that's been on my heart. So what I'd like to challenge you to do is just to think, ask yourself that question. Is working or serving in this church interfering with my communion, my relationship with Christ? And if it's not working or serving in a church that's interfering with that relationship, what is it? Is it your appearance? Is it your weight? Is it your education? Is it what you think your purpose in life is? Are any of those things interfering with your relationship with Christ? I think back to a verse in John where Jesus says, I am the vine, you're the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you'll bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can do nothing. And I processed that verse for the last several years, and I really wrestled with it up front because it says, apart from me, you can do nothing. And I'm thinking, well, I sure was doing a lot of stuff. I was producing 10 services a weekend. I was creating these amazing graphics and managing a team and investing in student ministry relationships there. I was doing all of these things, but it was me doing those things. And that's kind of what it comes down to is, how are you living your life? Are you dependent upon yourself, or are you completely, fully, 100% dependent on God, trusting Him to be your provision, not your paycheck, not your job being your provision, but knowing that God is always your provision. And if you need to step out in a walk of faith to make a change in your life so you can be obedient to God, you can continue to have that pure, completely wonderful relationship with Him, that connection with Him, I really challenge you to do that. So that's my 9 or 5, 6 minutes. Anyway, I hope that it blessed you, and I just look forward to walking this journey together. Know that I'm praying for you today, as we all kind of join together, watch these videos, and get encouraged. So have a great rest of your September. Have a great fall, and may God's blessings just be upon you.